Well, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and welcome to another Candid Conversation. How y'all doing this beautiful Tuesday afternoon? Listen, we are excited, elated, and always ready to bring you what's new, what's old, and some things we all learn together. But I'm not alone this afternoon. I have with me some special guests, as you see. I have to my left Specialist Drew Beck. Hello, Drew. Oh, he's using his deep man voice, but y'all listen. of, of course, you know we are here, Candid Conversations, and we would also like to welcome Dr. Joy Johnson to Candid Conversations.
Hello, Dr.
Hello
Joy.
there. Thank you.
Yes, I invited my guest. Now will invite the best hostess here on Candid Conversations, the one and only JT. What's going on,
What is
girl?
going on, Candid Conversations? It is a joy to be back with you this week with my girl, Lady T.
Yes, Heidi. I'm so excited to be back. I missed y'all last Tuesday. We won't go there. I missed
Listen,
y'all.
the other Lady T, as in Tamika, she held you down now. And if
My
people
sister, didn't
listen,
she?
if people didn't know, they may have thought that they was talking to you by looking at her, but it wasn't you, it was her. But we're
It
glad to
wasn't
have
me.
you back.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I'm glad to be back. Tamika held it down. JT, you held it down. It was a great show. Yes, I was in sunny California enjoying watching Candid Conversations so I could see, off guard what the people see, girl. I did that. I hope we're doing that every
Girl,
week.
listen, we saw you all in the comments. It was like you
Yes, I
never
was.
left.
Like I never left. Thank y'all again. Joy, I know you're booked and busy. Thank you for taking time out to come and talk to us. Last month, of course, was what we know as the month that we recognize mental health awareness. Am I correct, Dr. Joy?
Yes, ma'am.
That was in May, and we didn't particularly have a show, even though we kind of touch on a little mental health every week, though. We talk about something, get that right. But anyway, this is for real, though. Mental Health Awareness Month was in May. It's a real thing. We have a real doctor here to talk to you guys. And then we have with us also, Mr. I got to make sure I say his name correctly, specialist, because he's a specialist, y'all. Andrew, also known as Drew. Drew, tell the people hello. Well, hello, welcome. We want to know what you, Drew, about you. We want to know who you are. Who is Drew Beck? Tell the people.
So we can't hear specialist bet.
You can't hear? Uh-oh. Talk a little louder.
All right,
Deep voice.
can you hear me now?
Can't, yes. Tell the people.
Okay. Well, I've been a special agent for 20 years, and I have a stroke. I'm a current stroke victim. Um, I was watching the Saturday morning football highlights and couldn't get out of bed. I realized I had a stroke and went to the hospital. I was in a rehab setting for a year and some change, and then I came down here to North Carolina from DC. Further my rehab, and I'm getting a little bit better day by day. And then I got somebody like Lady T over here to help cheer me up when she can. So I think she's good people.
Well, thank you very kindly,
No
sir.
worries, no
Likewise.
worries.
But you're making it, we know that you are I know that you are a stroke victim. But before you were a stroke victim, you had a very important role in the DC DMV area, I guess I could say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, can you tell people what you actually did as a career?
I did like counter narcotics and counter terrorism. I was able to travel all over the world. I was living a dream that most people wouldn't even understand. Waking up in the morning and getting told I'm going to Birmingham just for the moment, or I'm going to Newcastle, England. I thought it was great. It was terrible for the relationships, but it was great for my personal life. It was terrible for my love life. So,
Okay, okay. So you were a specialist and you did your job in DMV, and then one day you had this stroke. But also, because we're talking about mental health, I want to touch on you had the stroke and it was a significant time in your life. You had the stroke when and what was significant about what was going to happen prior to that?
okay, well, I was engaged. I was planning on getting married in October. I had the stroke in September. So obviously the stroke put everything back. I couldn't do anything. I was bedridden for about a year. And the person I was engaged to lived down here in North Carolina. She said, "You don't have any relatives up here in DC." why don't you come down here because you got me? And so I came down here. Nothing really was getting better. I ended up going to a rehab setting in North Carolina. And then I was able to get up from the bed, and it's still a work in progress though.
Yeah.
But everything on my social life basically was put on hold, and now I'm at a start over point. I'm looking forward to starting over.
Now, Dr. Joy, I feel like Tamara Hall here today, y'all, because I got a real, you don't say it anyway, Dr. Joy. Listen, so I know that all that happened, and he makes it sound so like you were about to get married. Am I right? He was about to get married like a month from the time he had the stroke. And another factor is, how old are you?
I'm 47 right now. I was 43 when this happened.
43, driving your BMW, pulling some of the ladies, excuse us, and fiance. This was before your time, fiance, and all that. I'm assuming all that was happening. Then I'm sure this had an effect on you.
It had a major effect on me. I mean, everything, like my life is not set up like on everybody's schedule where on the days I wasn't working, if I wanted to just go out, I could go out. Now I have to ask somebody to grab something for me or pick something up for me or do whatever. I'm not able to just get out. I mean, I can do stuff on my own, but it's not the same.
Right. Joy,
Yes.
can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I didn't want to. I wanted to lay that foundation because, as you can assume, that you had to be dealing with some things mentally, and even now, as a young man in your 40s, dealing with getting ready to get married and have a stroke a month before that. Dr. Joy, how would you? Now, this is a question I'm gonna ask you. Now, I know you're not Dr. Phil Joy, but because I know Drew personally, and I've been working with him for about 2 years. With someone in his position, what would you think the best thing he could be doing, other than the normal in his mind, like he sits around sometime and maybe he might get depressed. Am I right?
It's not a baby.
He doesn't have a regular therapist. Is this some type of things that you work with? Do you work with people dealing with some of these similar issues?
Similar issues as far as
He's handicapped.
going through.
It does just mentally, when sometimes if he needs to speak with someone and
I've dealt with. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You've dealt with
people who experience depression, anxiety
yes.
for various reasons, and yeah. So depending on what the issue is that caused them to experience anxiety, and it depends on what the issue is, because now depending on what happened to you physically with the stroke has a lot to do with how you're going to handle situations up here. If you're not able, if you're immobile, that's extra, that's added to you already experiencing, man, I got to get through, this, I'm about to get married, and I'm feeling down, experiencing some anxiety, what is she still gonna love me, for who I am? And so you're dealing with all these issues in addition to planning on getting married. But then there are other people who someone else may be dealing with anxiety and depression because of that low self-esteem. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah.
So it depends on what the issue is. On the severity of it depends on the issue, but we don't discount any of it.
That's right. That's right. So it really would be a good idea. If somebody's struggling, maybe concerning your things, you maybe talk to a therapist. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel, you know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? And I do know him to be a very intelligent person. So I do know that he's not one to have given up. That's why I have you on the show today, because the strength that you've shown over the last year and a half or so, your mindset, and what I think you have to get the right mindset to want to live, to want to walk again, right?
Absolutely. It's that you just feel like, you're on the bottom of everything. Other days you feel like, this is great, this is good. And then you're like still stuck in one spot though.
Right. Well, we're rooting for you, and we appreciate everything you did. He was an officer. I think you did some things in that career.
I started out as a local cop for a couple of years, and that took me 14 months to get hired into the federal system. And I moved to DC, and I fell in love with that job. I couldn't believe I was doing it. It was was amazing. I mean, I went to every major event from the Winter Olympics in Vancouver to every single Super Bowl until I had a stroke.
Yeah.
Well, what would you
Well, the one
think?
thing that I appreciate
Yeah.
about your story, Drew, or Specialist Drew, is that you haven't allowed your body to be be a prisoner for you, and that you're still living life. You know, you relocated from DC to Raleigh, in pursuit of your health. And so that takes a great deal of mental fortitude to say, you know what? I am not going to let this set me back. Yes, this is a complete extreme from being able body and being able to do what you did before, but your mind isn't in that place of paralysis.
That's beautiful. I agree. I agree. Well, Joy,
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Joy, please forgive me when I leave off your
It's
doctrine, because
okay.
you've earned that.
I'm
And I'd
still
like for
doing
you
it.
to but you know, but I would like for you to kind of tell the audience about some of the things that you're doing. Because you work with children or younger children, am I correct? Sometimes in your career?
Yes, yes. I was working at Wake Christian Academy as an aftercare school counselor as well as a substitute teacher. But that ended May 30th, just this May 30th. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but thank God, you know, I left on a good note. The children, they miss me already. I miss them too. I received an award for my service. I also received something and through an email about how the parents felt like I developed a good rapport with them as well as the children, as including helping them to cope with situations, because you have to be a counselor for real. It's not just like camp counselor. like
Yes, yes.
it's not like that. You have to literally counsel the children. And I do have clients. I also have a business called Shepherd for the Shattered.
Steady.
The Shepherd for the Shattered, and the
Chapter,
Lord.
chapter, chapter.
Yes, ma'am. The Lord gave that to me in around the year 2002. Well, it was the name, I'll say first, in around 2002, and the way that happened was um, I had gone through a divorce, and was I divorced by then? Yes, I was divorced by then, and my ex-husband, he had gotten married, started a family. Um, I was working full time, being a full time single mom,
Mm-hmm.
single parent, and you know, a youth leader also. And it was just like so much at one time. And I remember I was an adjutant for the preacher that came to the church this particular week, and he ran revival. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, Sister Johnson, I'd like to speak with you after service. Went to the office. He spoke with me. He said, I see a sadness on you. And I said, yes, you do. I was depressed. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he saw. And he said, what's going on? And I said, well, it seems like my ex-husband's being successful. And, here I am struggling, living a holy and righteous life. He said, well, the Lord is making you a shepherd for the shattered.
Okay, I
And I
like
was like,
that.
oh, okay. So I
Mm-hmm.
held on to that. The name, didn't share it with anyone. Once I moved here to North Carolina from New York, then it became established with the North Carolina Secretary of State's office. And
Okay.
it started, I had my first client when COVID began,
Okay.
and the
Wow.
Lord blessed because work ended because we couldn't go into the building.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was like, oh Lord, how am I going to pay this, that, and the other? And the Lord just opened the door. Oh, Psychology Today, I reached out to them and they approved. Normally they don't have Christian counselors, it's secular
Right, right.
counselors. So I reached out to them and they approved my certificate as a board certified Christian counselor.
Well,
And
that is
so I
awesome.
became,
Wonderful.
yes, that was the Lord. I tell you, I thank God for that. And that's when the Lord began to provide, and I began to have clients, children, adults, women, and it was just such a blessing. I encountered children one child who actually attempted suicide, and it just didn't. Thank God it didn't work. Today he's fine, thank you Jesus, and in his teens. But at the time, um, it was really bad because the name calling. So there goes the mental health. You know,
Yes.
the siblings were calling him names, and that was very difficult for him to handle.
Yes.
And this is why parents, it's so important for parents to affirm the children and encourage the siblings to talk nice, compliment each other.
Mhm.
You live with
Right.
each other,
Right.
compliment each other,
Right.
love one another. Don't, see how you can help. Don't call each other names. And that was the
Right.
reason why he attempted suicide, because he just got
My
tired
God.
of being called names. And
Right.
that was really something. He just didn't care. He was like, what am I here for? I didn't ask to be here. And this,
Right.
I mean, at the time he was like 9 years old,
Okay.
thinking this way. So children, mental health, it's so important. Mental wellness, mental health, it's so important to take care of the spirit, soul, and the body, because um we're not just at, we go to church, we're not just spirit. We go around, we're not just in the natural. We're
Mm-hmm.
not just
Mm-hmm.
in the body. We have a
Mm-hmm.
soul, and which is the mind, considered the mind. And we need, the Bible tells us to renew our mind with the word of God in Romans 12:2. um the Bible also in Philippians 4 gives us things to think about,
Right.
whatsoever
Right.
things are lovely. And these are the things that we have to do constantly. I'm telling you, just recently, just going through some things. You know, I had, I mean, I found myself constantly renewing my mind like never before, just to just
Understood.
to keep just to keep um that, like they say, if you don't laugh, you cry.
Right. That's
Just
right. That's right.
to keep the sanity, to keep, just constantly renewing my mind, because you're going through some things that you've never gone through before, so many
Right.
times.
Do
we
you
we uh-huh.
if I may interject, do you find a stigma in the Black community about church and seeking therapy or seeking, help with their mental health? Do you
Absolutely.
think there's a stigma? Okay.
Absolutely. I remember, okay, so years ago, it was like taboo to see a counselor. You considered crazy.
Oh my.
And unfortunately, now, in the church, many times they feel like, oh, call Jesus, trust God. And it's true, call Jesus, and definitely call Jesus and
Yes.
trust God. Um, um, and everyone is not at the same, for instance, in school, everyone's not in the same grade.
Hmm.
So spiritually, everyone is there. Some babes in Christ. There are, some who are seasoned. Um, it's okay. They still have to know. Everyone still has to know it's okay to get help, because the Bible says in Proverbs how there is safety among a multitude of counselors. So it's
Right.
okay to speak to a counselor. It's okay to get help, because
Yeah.
God wants our soul to prosper.
Right. You're not gonna go to hell by seeking counsel. Maybe just if you're a Christian, if that's your preference, seek a Christian counselor, someone that I guess that you can relate to and can relate to you. Uh,
Exactly.
you know,
Je- Jesus was
I don't
touched
know.
with the feelings of our infirmities.
I don't know. JT, what do you think about counsel, therapy and,
Yeah.
the
I think
stigma?
Yeah, I think that in certain communities there is absolutely a stigma.
Yeah.
I would say to the older generation, like our parents' generation, the baby boomers, they really don't think much about counseling because when life came their way, they just dealt with it. I think that we, as Generation X, I think that's my generation. All we hear about are millennials and Z
That's
and
it.
and
I don't even know who that fall anymore.
yeah. But in our the middle-aged crowd, we're
Right.
more
The
open to
seasons.
it because very seasoned. I'm heavily seasoned.
Larry
But
Stevenson.
I think that we're more open to it,
Yes.
because we want to live longer. You know, when you harbor a lot of anxiety and stress, that has an effect on your body. You know, people in our age group are having, you know, heart attacks due to stress. And
Yes,
you
they
know,
are.
anxiety will make you feel, having an anxiety attack or a panic attack feels like a heart attack. And so
Right.
I think that we're more open to the process of seeking therapy and a counselor. And in particular, a lot of us work for corporations where those type of mental health services are a part of our benefits package. So it doesn't cost us anything.
Yes.
It's just like going to a wellness appointment. So, you know, we're taking advantage of the tools and the
Yes.
resources that we have.
Yes. That's very good and
Amen.
very,
Exactly.
very necessary, I think. And not and if nothing else, just in the time that we are living in currently, you know what I'm saying? Things are different. I know people say
Yeah.
it's taboo, but things are really different, y'all.
Yeah.
So
They are.
I get it, and to talk to our children, Joy, I think you play an intricate part in the lives of young people. And I think it's a good thing if your children really need to seek therapy and you see some changes, especially in their behaviors or this, being more standoffish, those games are keeping them entertained. But check in on your children. Enjoy you're the one for them to call if they need to do that. So we want to make sure you share your information with Jan. Janet, type it in the comments. Your email, your website address, what you have going on, so that when the need occurs, we have you right here at our fingertips. A
Thank you
minority
so much.
woman in the neighborhood who can help us out. I had another question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, I heard through the rumor mill, I didn't have my people do the research, but just through the rumor mill that perhaps there was maybe a school on the rise or something that you're working with. Is I
Yeah.
just It's not confirmed.
Yeah. Yes, there
Figured I'd
is.
go to the source.
I have a school ID. Yes, I got the school registered. It's called Shepherd for the Shattered Academy, and it's a virtual school. It's registered through the North Carolina Division of Non-Public School Education.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yes, so I'll be starting that in August, as as long as the Lord said the same, because I'm still doing research and different things like that. I have material, but I'm excited about it. I'm shocked when I think about it in like reality, like in the flesh, but this
Oh.
assignment is from the Lord because of the experience that I've gone through at the school that I worked at. There were many children who were dealing with. I worked at a Christian school. Many children who were
Mhm.
dealing with mental health issues, like ADHD, on
Yes.
the autism spectrum, um, and they needed special. I'll say they needed one-on-one assistance. And in my opinion, some of the teachers were and staff were not prepared to assist those children who were
Hmm.
dealing with that. So after seeing that for so many years and having um, been taught and skilled to deal with children as a behavioral tech, I,
Mhm.
it was just pressed upon me to start the school for children across the board, any child who was willing to attend, but also focusing on those who with learning disabilities, but functional on the autism spectrum, but functional. Those who have difficulty sitting in the classroom. There's a client that I have who I'm counseling. She has difficulty sitting in the classroom because
Hmm.
so yeah, so there's so
I
many
have difficulty sitting in the classroom sometimes.
Me too.
Just saying. But okay. Okay.
oh funny. But yes, there are
Okay.
many. You'd be
Really.
surprised. You may be surprised of how many children who are dealing with difficulties in sitting in the classroom, who are
Mhm.
being bullied, who are experiencing racism.
Mhm.
It's just it's so much happening in the schools as a whole, public
Mhm.
school, um, public school and Christian schools. It doesn't It doesn't matter. And the parents have a lot to do with how children handle the classroom.
Mm.
The parents have a lot to do with it. They have to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I think that that brings an important conversation about parents, because we have people that have children who are not parenting, and so it's the responsibility when you have children to show them the way. Teach them how to conduct themselves. Talk to them about the importance of getting an education and interacting with all people. Now, listen, we know when we were in school that you know everybody gets picked on. Either you're too fat or you're too skinny or you're too tall or you're too short. People take whatever they perceive as a slight and they pick on you. And I think there's a difference between being picked on and being bullied, because to be bullied means you're pushing somebody over the edge to the point that it's incessant. And when you're dealing with a bully, in order to get a bully off of you, you got to fight back. I was that parent that told my kids, don't you hit first, but if they swing on you, you better get them before I get you. Because you just don't let people bully you.
That's right. We know that's right. That's right. Jay, I'm the same way. I can't say much because my mama might be on here, but she know what it was. She know what it was. You better get down, and if you don't, but that was before. That was before the Lord.
I swear, me and your mama and my mama were probably friends. I'm just saying.
Right. That part. Look, Jay, I think we either dropped Dr. Joy or she ran. And she was like, look, I can't hear about this child abuse I went through back in the 80s and the 70s. She got off the page. I think we lost her.
Oh, she's back. She's back.
Okay, she's back. She said, I can't listen to this child abuse. That was child abuse.
Yes, Joy. We heard you about bullying, but we told our kids you better beat them up, and they did. I mean, allegedly.
Better get down. Well, I'm gonna get you.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for throwing that on this. Allegedly. Janet.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Sidetracking. Because I don't want Joy to be put my mom.
No.
Have you heard about Hunter Biden today? I don't keep up with a lot of the politics, but this young man, now before you answer that, Jay, this young man to my left, specialist Beck, he keeps up with the politics. Can you tell me what you share tell the candid conversation, faithful listeners, what you heard today in the news, sir? And this is news that's already reported.
So I'll tell you this: we cannot hear Specialist Drew for whatever reason.
Okay, let's try it again. Said we're gonna testing. Say 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Can you hear him, Jay? Can you hear him?
Very low.
No?
It's very low.
Very low.
Check 1. Can you hear me?
We can hear you a little bit.
How about this? Check 2.
We got you, sir.
Okay, my mic sounds nice.
And it does.
Okay, long story short, Hunter was convicted of all counts today. He was guilty for the gun violations, being a drug addict, and purchasing a firearm at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the news. He was convicted guilty on all 3 counts. And his father won't pardon him on anything because he said that before. So that's what's going on right now.
So, Candid Conversation listeners, what say you? We've got President Trump, who is facing charges. Some say, that that you shouldn't, put charges on a former president. And now we've got the current president's son, who is being convicted on 3 charges of being, of gun-related charges. I won't add to it. I certainly don't want to take away from it. Does this have any impact on how you're going to vote come November? That's what I want to know.
My vote's going to stay the same. I think the case in New York with Trump, that's a state case, and it really didn't have anything to do with the federal government, even though a lot of people say it does. It really didn't. And then I think the case with Hunter, I think there's 2 totally different worlds, and neither one of them affect my allegiance to who I'll vote for.
Mhm. And so, with him saying that, we can't tell y'all who to vote for, but this is candid conversation where all opinions matter. Who do you feel like? Never mind. I'm not gonna ask you. I'm
Don't
probably
ask that.
But seriously, I already know who. I already know. But when I told him my choice, he was. What? Oh, we got a comment, Janet. Can you see it?
Yes. So Janelle writes, Trump was found guilty and will be sentenced in July. Hunter was also found guilty of his crimes and will also be sentenced. I don't know what I don't know what the term of Trump's sentence will be, but I do know that that Hunter Biden is looking at 25 years in prison. Do I think he's going to get 25 years? Absolutely not. No, I don't believe any judge would give the son of a president 25 years, even though he's guilty. It'll probably be something, I would imagine, something on the lower end, if not some type of, probation or something.
True. Yeah.
I don't think the two have anything to do with each other. I believe that Hunter, it's the first offense, number one. Number two, it's a nonviolent crime. Number three, I think he'll be just an outstanding, upright person when he goes to sentencing. No, I don't think he'll get 20-some years, but he'll still be a convicted felon, and he'll be a convicted felon with some sort of punishment, whatever that'll be. Trump is also a convicted felon, but he's convicted on a state level. And they're two different things, where if the state of New York had 12 members of his peers from Manhattan that all convicted, all of them said he was guilty. When they did the jury poll, that means both sets of attorneys, the prosecutors and the defense attorneys, had to pick these people. And so I think they're two totally different worlds.
Well, thank you, Janelle. She is our faithful fact finder. She told us that financial fraud for Trump and 5 counts have a jail sentence up to 5 years.
For each charge.
He's a specialist here.
Okay, 5 years for each charge. So is that a potential of 25?
That'd be 5 times 34.
Oh my.
But he's not going to get that either, though.
No.
What Jay say? Janelle saying?
She was just saying, in the comments, it was financial fraud for Trump and 5 counts have jail sentences up to 5 years.
For each charge.
For each charge. Okay, got it.
So, does it affect your vote? I don't think it's going to, my opinion, I don't think it's going to affect anyone's vote. I think people are going to vote however they choose to vote. I think that even if Trump is found guilty and sentenced in July, I still think that by the time he does his appeal, just as Hunter Biden is going to do his appeal, the election will probably be over.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And it very well may be that we have the first, if Trump is convicted as a felon, we may have the first felon as a president upon appeal.
But the appealment will probably come until well after January or something.
Yeah. After.
We have a comment from Vita Griffin. It's not going to affect the vote at all.
I agree, Vita. I don't believe that it's going to affect the vote at all. I think people know who they want their candidate to be. And I think this is, and I don't know, the media is not who the media used to be. I say in 2017, every little thing, it was like a news cycle. Today, it seems kind of slow. I mean, it's a lot going on in the world, and it just doesn't feel like we're getting the complete story.
Right.
I'm a conspiracy theorist. I will admit that. Don't judge me, Agent Drew. But I think that there's some other things that play in the world that we're not talking about. So they just throw up these little weak stories to kind of keep our focus in another direction. I think there's a lot of other things going on in other parts of the world that we're involved with that we're not talking about.
And I need you to share. I need you to tell. What I know you still know people that know people.
Well, allegedly. because we don't know anything. This is all an opinion. We are an opinion-based show. The comments stated on this show do not reflect the views of Oak 93.5
That's
or
it.
any other financial, political, corporate, or private entity.
And everything is allegedly, except when Drew talking, because Drew know he talking about stuff. Coming from the source right there.
It's not a source.
Oh, no, not so. Doggone it. Let's just cut it. I use all of our words. Don't take us off the air. Have us removed. True. What would you share? Seriously, someone here. This is okay, y'all. We all over the place, but we have two guests, so this is just what it is today. But how would you tell the people, anybody that went through a situation similar to yours, what were some very important things that helped you through the healing process? You know what I'm saying?
I think faith is probably one of the most important things. You realize that you're not the same. You just can't jump out of the bed and go get in your car and go do something fun. You're just there, and sometimes you just got to be at peace with yourself for that time being, and realize that you're in the situation for a reason, and that you just got to have that motivation and dedication to do the right thing to get yourself back into that life you want to get into, whether it's working out, whether it's rehab, whether it's praying. I mean, you got to have some sort of strong faith to achieve whatever goals you want to make. And just know what your goals are instead of just going into something blind.
Yeah.
You have to have a mindset to want to get better, because I've seen you grab, your choice changes throughout the years, and this young man is determined, and I believe it's going to happen too, to drive that BMW again in 6 years. He's not playing, but right now he's enduring, and he's also getting his mindset for healing, talking positive. But you also have days now you can say yes and no, that your lows. You know what I'm saying? There are lows, right?
So I would imagine that there are days that he has lows, because we all have lows. We couldn't hear him, but the reality is we all have lows, because life is a trip. So, Specialist Drew, did you want to talk to us to respond to Tanisha's question?
Okay, what's your question, Tanisha? Lady T. This is true.
We don't have, like Jay was saying, we have those days. But when I can react to my days differently. You had a stroke in your face, your left side is paralyzed, and you're non-ambulatory. Right now. So I'm gonna deal with mine differently. So how did you tell someone to that low?
Well, for me, it's kind of immature. I'll just look at some funny videos on my phone, or try to watch something on TV that'll just get me out of the funk, or just get in a conversation. I get in a conversation with Lady T about the dumbest stuff sometimes at night or during the middle of the day, and it just cheers me up. I mean, it is having that thing to look forward to. Like, I'm gonna talk to Lady T later on tonight, and we're gonna talk about some crazy stuff. I think she's great, and she's a great motivator, and she probably doesn't even realize it. It's just something to look forward to. Like, okay, when I get better, I'm gonna make this plan to go do blah blah blah. That's just great. Like, I feel like every day, and this is kind of immature too. I think every day, no matter what it is, I want to go outside, even if it's just for a minute or two. And I just want to be thankful for, like, thank you, God, for it raining. Thank you for the humidity. Thank you for the snow. Thank you for the sleep. Because I spent a year in a hospital bed where I couldn't go outside. I couldn't even look out the window. And so I'm just thankful for the achievements that are coming to me as we speak.
That's beautiful. And your spirit of gratitude is also very beautiful. And I do think that, sometimes when we're in our lowest places, that's just God's way of getting our attention to put our focus back on him, however it comes. And I have to believe, Specialist Drew, that you're encouraging and motivating to some of the people that you live with right now as well, because you're a young man, and so they're probably encouraged and motivated by how they see you living independently as well.
Yes,
I would hope so.
I agree. I agree. But I just think he has such a very, very unique situation, and that he can definitely encourage someone else that may be going through similarities, because strokes are happening, strokes are real. You know, Sometimes they come without warning. Hence, we have therapist Joy, Dr. Joy, on today. She can help you people. Listen, get her information will be in the comments. She's there for therapy if needed, as needed, for so we won't get sometimes to that low, or someone can understand where we are and meet you where you are. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine. But Drew, I applaud you, sir, for your duties and for
Yeah.
being Dr. Joy.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
hear me? Hi. Do you
Yes, I can hear you.
accept all forms of payment? Like if our specialist Drew woke up and wanted to contact you, what forms of payment do you accept for your service?
Okay, so it would be like Cash App, Venmo, think Zelle, PayPal, not insurance because the insurance with the insurance companies, they shy upon Christian counselors, and I'm limited in being. God made me a Christian counselor, so that's what I use. My ability to
Ah,
be a Christian counselor. I'm a licensed commissioned minister of counseling.
oh,
Um,
cool. Sorry.
yeah, and a chaplain. I'm a chaplain as well. Um, so that's what. So I
Okay.
accept, those forms of payments. Hmm.
Right. Okay. All right, Jay, you can get her information again. We want to make sure we share your information, Joy. We want to hopefully hope somebody can Drew, excuse me, specialist Beck can reach somebody out there, and and I'm glad you shared your story. I appreciate that so much. When I just gave him an invitation on today about joining us, Joy, because I knew that he dealt with
Oh,
some things as well. I
nice.
knew you could speak to some things, right? He only had like 20 minutes to get ready.
Yeah,
Listen,
I think it was less than that.
Wow.
okay, maybe 18. He only had 18 minutes to get ready. So
Banging on the door. Let's go.
go.
What's
Listen,
going on?
this is what you should be accustomed to. Get back into that fast life,
Okay.
that unexpected stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting back healthy, right?
You ready?
Right. So I just brought him closer to his healing, and so now when somebody, his senses, dude, you got 20 minutes. You're gonna be on camp conversation. Be ready, and you was ready. So I applaud that young man. Ooh, Lord, Jay,
Awesome.
Joey, I got to bring a little
You're
Listen.
breaking up a little bit.
Oh, am I? Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
It was
Can
it
y'all
was
hear
on
me?
probably on my end.
Oh,
Yep,
can you hear me,
we can
JT?
hear you, Lady T. We got you.
Okay. Okay. All right. So anyway, again, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Joy. I know you probably need to go. Jay, we got any hot topics? Because we're gonna be cutting this very soon.
Yeah. So, I think the hottest topic is just the fact that, the president of the United States' son has just been convicted of 3 felony gun charges. And, again, this is something that isn't very common. Especially when we think about the prestige that comes from the highest ranking office in our land, the presidency of the United States.
Exactly.
And I think that people need to put a little bit more respect. Like when your parents hold an office like that. Now, granted, he is a grown man. He is not a child. But in the same respect, it's like your dad is the president of the United States. There's a certain level of decorum we have to walk in, because again, you represent our country. And I just don't think that we
Right.
get that from. I think there's a little bit of I think that there's a little bit of I don't know. I'm just really disappointed with the decorum that the Biden family has walked in. I'll say it like that. Our president
Yeah.
says some off the cuff stuff, and I do know that the last president said some off the cuff stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah.
when you're the president of the United States and you're in the first family, just be mindful of your actions and just have a little
Right.
class. I don't think
Right.
that's asking a lot to have a little class.
Just a little bit. You worked with the president before, right? We want. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what I can't say, what I can't. I mean, I didn't say which president. I just want to just tell the people. Oh, I have a picture of him and one of our presidents. Yes. So he worked
That
with
is
the president.
awesome.
How was that
It
experience?
was fun. I was in the shadows.
Right.
It
Okay.
was just a person in the shadows.
Just a person in the shadows, but you were in the shadow. You were risky. Were you one of the ones that'll take a? You're not.
I was
But you was
one
just
of the
there.
people that would help them, like, okay, you know, this.
You go that way. Oh,
Mhm.
turn to the. Okay. Okay. That's pretty important. Cross guard for the president.
Not really.
You got a picture with him or whatever. Anywho, so I think that's pretty awesome though, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
I mean, that's some things that most people can't say that they've done. A lot of
That's all
people
I'm
can't say
saying.
that they've met with the president or they've served at the pleasure of the president. So
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, that's all I'm saying. But Jay, we're gonna be playing the music for the rest of the show.
okay. Well,
Yes.
we can absolutely do that. We can
Yes.
absolutely cut the show short.
We're gonna
So
talk about
Steve, I'm sorry, say that again, Tanisha.
we're gonna sign off with our listeners because we have accomplished what needed to be accomplished on today. So we'll end our end. We'll let Steve know to go ahead and kick the show back into gear with Oak 93.5 on your FM dial. We have had a pleasure with you all today. Jay, you're all the way out there, and I appreciate you getting in here because you're not even in your normal space. So I appreciate that, sis. Thank you, Joy, Dr. Joy, for joining us, y'all. We have her information
Yes.
in the comment section. Yeah, let's zoom on out of here. When
Yeah.
it's
And
done, it's
next
done.
week, and listen, and next week we'll talk about how you were in the company with actress and media mogul Tika Sumpter when you were in California. We'll spill that tea next week.
We're gonna spin the block back on that next Tuesday. Y'all tune in.
Take care, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
y'all. Thank you, specialist.
All
All
right.
right.
We're
Bye,
and we're
y'all.
out.
Bye.